Our guest now is the founder of Global Shapers Against COVID, an international task force of more than 250 young people across the globe to drive action against the coronavirus. Dr. David Walcott joins me online. Good morning, Dr. Walcott.
Hi, Delia. Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very good. Very good.
All right.
Just fighting the fight, as you can imagine.
Yes. Tell me a little bit about Global Shapers, and the objective, and what are some of the things that you do?
Well, Global Shapers is a group of, I would say, young change makers committed to driving action to solve global problems. So we are essentially the youth arm of the World Economic Forum, which is one of the perhaps the most powerful multi-stakeholder, multinational group. And essentially, our mandate is to find ways to solve global problems that larger organizations may find challenging to solve just by virtue of their distance from the grassroots. So typically, global shapers are individuals anywhere between, let's say, 20 to 30 years old, who are doing interesting things and have demonstrated a certain level of the desire to serve beyond self. And this community leverages all these sort of resources of youth towards solving big challenges of the world.
You reached out to more than, well, the task force is actually more than 250 young people from 60 countries across the world. Sounds like a lot to manage. How does it work? How does the networking operate?
Okay, I mean, the thing is, it really was a call to action, right? So, um, as someone who's been studying global health for a while and also immunology, uh, a few of us sort of realized the changing tides of COVID-19. And so we determined that it was important for us to harness a global force of action to be able to solve this across multiple regions. And so we tapped into the Global Shapers community, which is just about 10,000 members strong in about 160 countries. And we issued a call, and within 24 hours, we had over 250 people joining up. We decided to focus on prevention over panic, and we issued a series of global campaigns to raise awareness of COVID before people started forming panic-driven opinions. So again, as you said, right now we're over 80 countries strong, but most of the action takes place in just about 50 to 60, and it is quite a lot to manage, just to be working on several timelines. But again, the entire team is very much multinational, very much committed to doing what they can in the space against this fight.
Yeah. How in depth is the information that you share, Doc? Because as you said, you are an immunologist and you're interested in global health. Are there other global health professionals within the group? And has a discussion been about just the ways and the differences in how COVID-19 has presented itself in different countries?
Yeah. So I would say, the information comes really in two forms, or the action comes in two forms. One, there's the idea of serving as a global distribution channel of information, right? Because naturally the WHO, the CDC put out information, and we stand behind fully verified information. We don't seek to produce information. We serve to distribute information. And the value of our community is that we have grassroots connections into several different countries, several cities, etc. And so we have sort of taken on the role of providing this vetted information to spaces that need it. And so we always say, the right information or the right action to the right people at the right time. And so we would have, WHO certified information that is translated into many different languages. In our prevention of a panic campaign, we had translated a certain WHO message into just over 30 languages and sort of, help to diffuse that knowledge to where it's needed most.
Right.
And the second arm has to do with action. So what sort of actions are we driving? And our actions have taken the form of relief efforts, fundraising for individuals who've managed to face difficult economic times, the procurement of PPE for public and private sector entities, the design of masks, the design of ventilators, the design of or participation in clinical trials, the drug design, etc. There's a group that has just gotten their internally designed ventilator preliminarily approved for the FDA approval pipeline. So there are things being done across the entire spectrum of anti-COVID activities. And in terms of which institutions are represented, people are represented from, several governments and government agencies, several private sector agencies, several multilaterals, including the WHO, the United Nations, again, the World Economic Forum, the CDC. So we have a pretty dynamic and, multidimensional think tank operational.
Yeah, I'm seeing where in Africa, Asia, North America, Europe, South America, you have actioned things such as policy, as campaigns, in terms of I see here you have prefabricated building that you guys organized, I believe, in Milan, pre-finished intensive care PODs that are easy to deploy. And so the work is a wide range, Doc. It's a lot to manage. What's the structure of Global Shapers?
Okay, so the Global Shapers community is structured as follows. So there's a regional community head that resides in Geneva with the World Economic Forum, and there are community managers that manage large Global Shaper groups across different regions. For the Global Shapers Against COVID group, the form that has taken is that a series of us would have presented ourselves. This is after the movement was founded. Mm-hmm. We would have sought to create a steering committee to sort of inform the different activities taking place around the globe and find ways to create some level of structure so resources can be shared. So, for example, different regions are facing different problems that can then be segmented into live groups. So New York is facing a problem that at some point Milan was facing. And so the sort of problems of the day will be similar. And so, you'll find that the group in Milan would have created deployable ICU pods to essentially additionally quickly resource the ICU intensive care capabilities for patients who have severe COVID disease. Yeah. And that information would be made accessible to New York, whereas somewhere like Bangalore or Indore, India, where the main problem is people having a certain level of food insecurity. We found that those problems were more similar to problems faced in Southeast Asia, for example, in Manila, Philippines. And so we would have sought to have those two regions collaborate to share resources and problem-solving mechanisms that they'd have used to solve the problems within their current environment.
Wonderful. It's a global pandemic, and the only way we're going to overcome it is collectively, and if we work together. And I think Global Shapers best represents the kinds of approach that we have to take moving forward. Thank you so much for speaking with us. I know you have a lot on your plate, but we're very proud of you as our Jamaican at the helm of Richmond.
Staying safe and sanitized.
All right. Leader of Global Shapers Against COVID, Dr. David Walcott. Don't go away. Smile's going to continue after the break. Soon come.